Hello and welcome to In the Lab. Now today we're going to talk about the element gallium. That was pretty good, wasn't it? Do you think I can do it again? Let's find out. Today we're going to talk about the element gallium. Yep, clearly I can. Obviously I can do it with anything at all. Well, enough of that. On with talking about gallium. In fact, you're going to see the element gallium. It's a very special element because it's one of only a few that's safe to hold in your hand and that melts when you do so. Yes, that means that gallium is a solid at room temperature. Right now it's about 18 or 19 degrees in the room you're probably in, if you're indoors of course. But if you go outdoors into the hot sun, or you were to put something into your hand, your external body temperature is around 30 degrees or so. Internal is around 37. So if you put the gallium into your hand, the temperature of the gallium goes up from 18 up to about 30, and it passes its melting point. So it turns into a liquid. Don't believe me? Well, have a look at this. Ooh, let's have a look at that. Can you poke it with a finger? Just to prove that it is. Oh yeah, it's very liquidy, isn't it? Nice, let's have a look at yours then. Can you squash it completely with your finger? What happens? Oh yeah.
Melting point of...
What? No!
It's just left a little black mark there, but it will all come off. Will it actually roll? Ooh, nearly. Oh yeah.
I'm only 26.
You got the right person for the job.
I'm only 26.
We're going to go for the splat. Nice.
Excuse me.
Have you got liquid?
Yeah.
Go on then. Oh, nice. Go on, pour it around, see what happens. Let's move it about. It's going to solidify very quickly though.
Oh, it's already gone.
It's already going, look, it's already going. Right, you're going to have to heat that up again to get it back up. Oh, well done.
Once I've cleaned that up.
Get it back as a nice solid lump. Whoops, there it is. Uh-oh, Rowan. Uh-oh, Rowan's just messing it up. He's going to scoop it back together as one lump. If you rub your hands together with gallium quite a lot, then you change colour. There we go. So let's put it back in there.
Yeah.
So that was gallium, but we're not over yet. I'm going to show you one more unusual feature that gallium has. Now, if you take 100% pure gallium, and you allow it to cool down because the process of making it pure gets it quite warm, once it gets to room temperature, you would expect it to turn into a solid again, but it doesn't. You see, there needs to be impurities in a substance for it to be able to change state a lot of the time. If you have a liquid like gallium, there needs to be what's called a nucleation point, an impurity at which the change of state begins. And it happens around the impurity and then spreads through the whole substance until you get a solid. Water's the same. You might have seen videos on YouTube where very pure water doesn't change state even though you take it to its freezing point until you shock it or you put an impurity in, and that allows the process to begin. Often something needs to happen in a pure substance, like an impurity or a shock, for it to change. Well, a shock doesn't make gallium change, but we can add an impurity in. And I'm going to show you this in a moment. The way to do it, if you're not sure whether something is gallium or not, is to take a bit of impure gallium, touch it to the pure gallium, and the impurities in that first bit of gallium will cause the change of state and it will go into being a solid. Well, we're going to see if we can do that now because I have got a mystery solution and we're going to see if it's gallium or something else. Well, we do have a substance here that may or may not be gallium. Now, as you can see, it is at room temperature and it is very much like a liquid. If I move it about, you can see the gallium moving just like a liquid. If I shake it, in fact, you can see it's going all over the place. And it is at room temperature. It's no hotter, and you'd expect gallium to be a solid at around about 18 or 19 degrees. It should be much hotter, shouldn't it, before it melts. Now, it might be because it's an incredibly pure substance and it just needs to touch gallium to change, or it might be something else. Well, I hope it's nothing else, because the only thing I can think of that's a silvery metal that's liquid at room temperature is mercury, and that would be quite hazardous. But let's give it a go. I'm going to squirt this out into the top of this lid, just so we can get a little bit more movement. Now, if I squeeze it like this, we can see, whoops, got a little bit that spilled onto the table there. If I pour it all out, that's quite satisfying to watch, isn't it? Oh, it does look like it's still a liquid, but it's semi-solid, in fact. Let's most of that out. Let's have a look at the rest of it in there. There is a little bit of it that does seem to be stuck to the side there. So maybe it's gallium after all. Now, if I try and, without touching it with my fingers, try and move it around, we can see it is actually still very liquidy. There's a slight film on top of it, but it shouldn't be like that, should it? What happens if I follow our theory and I touch it with a very small piece of solid gallium that you saw us use before? I'm going to pick it up very carefully, and we're going to see if it makes a difference. Now, what happens when I touch it? Is it going solid? Well, I've been mixing everything around for a little bit longer, and look at this now. We've managed to get quite a large solid lump out of there, and in fact there's a few more solid lumps here of varying sizes. So it does look like me touching this liquid gallium with solid gallium, it has actually made some of it become solid at room temperature, as it's supposed to do. Now, as you can see, the more gallium I've added, and I have added quite a bit, it is making more and more of the liquid turn into solid, so we're getting increasingly large gallium lumps. Now, the gallium is in a pot, and as you can see, and here, it's all completely solidified. So by mixing pure gallium with impure gallium, we've achieved our goal. We've got it all into a state. That means we can use it to show just what happens when we heat up solid gallium and we make it liquid from room temperature to hotter. We've done it. We've got it into a more usable state. So there we are. We saw what happened when we held impure gallium, and we also saw what happened when we touched pure gallium with impure gallium. And now we've got a lot more impure gallium because it's been contaminated, but it's now usable. Well, if you like gallium, you can purchase some yourself online. If you do that, do of course be very careful with it and follow the instructions. Always put safety first. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.
In the lab, like and
Subscribe.